Blake Stephenson to move the motion.
Thank you, Sir Edward. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I beg to move that this House has considered government support for the tourism industry, and it's a pleasure to do so during English Tourism Week, when people across the country will be celebrating all the fantastic tourism attractions that form part of the fabric of so many of our communities. From Land's End to John O'Groats, from the Needles on the Isle of Wight to the Neolithic site of Skara Brae in the Orkney Islands, from the Titanic Museum in Belfast to the Roman ruins of Colchester. Across the length and breadth of the United Kingdom, we're fortunate to have unique and interesting tourism attractions in, I would feel reasonably confident in saying, every constituency and every corner of the country. Tourism is a vast worth £145.8 billion to the UK economy, equivalent to 6.5% of UK GDP. Tourism supports 3.8 million jobs, with 1.6 million people directly employed in tourism. 328,000 businesses, representing 6.6% of all businesses in the UK, are tourism businesses, with 76% of those made up of micro businesses. Tourism is the UK's sixth largest export earner, and it feeds into a wide tourism ecosystem supporting local high streets, hospitality and a wide range of other industries. This government has an ambition to reach 50 million tourism visitors per year, and it is an ambition that I support. And I hope that in this debate we can examine the role that government, that we in this place, can play in supporting tourism nationally and backing our tourism economies locally. I'm aware that as a Member of Parliament for Mid Bedfordshire, I may not be the most obvious voice for tourism in this place. Bedfordshire has been rather left behind by the tourism economy. We're one of the last counties in England without an official local visitor economy partnership. And despite fantastic attractions like English Heritage's Rest Park, Whipsnade Zoo and Woburn Safari Park, and I refer members to my register of interests following a Safari Park's kind hosting of a round table and a tour of the park for me earlier this year. We also have a Centre Parks in Woburn, Forest, the Boston Lakes Resort, Luton Hoo and so much more. Anyone who watched my tourism in Bedfordshire debate last year, indeed I'm glad to be debating the Minister on Tourism again, will have heard me extol the virtues of Bedfordshire as a place to visit, Mr Chairman. But despite those fantastic attractions, our county has a domestic tourism economy of just £250 million and an international tourism economy of just £100 million. We're not a remote county with a major international airport, a motorway and a direct rail connection. Bedfordshire's tourism economy should have so much potential to be a key part of growing the economy. And where Bedfordshire has lagged, now it can lead. The government has already thrown its weight behind East West Rail, and that has the potential to make a real difference to local tourism. Setting our county up as a central piece of an Oxford to Cambridge growth corridor that is full of growing businesses, but more importantly for this debate, of attractions that embody what it is to be an English county. As many colleagues do, we have fantastic opportunities in Bedfordshire to deliver new attractions that will boost our tourism economy too. The Bedford to Milton Keynes Waterway Park is one such opportunity, attracting 750,000 visitors, creating 1,000 jobs and bringing in an extra £26 million for our local economy. I'll continue to bang the drum to get that delivered as quickly as possible. The other major tourism project in my constituency is the Game Changer. Looming like a monstrous shark off the Amity Island, a prehistoric predator off the coast of Costa Rica, or an Italian-American plumber in the Mushroom Kingdom, the Universal Studios theme park at Kempston Hardwick, would transform the tourism landscape in Bedfordshire. Universal is a game changer for Bedfordshire, but it is also a game changer for the whole UK tourism economy. Getting it right represents a £50 billion economic boost, 20,000 new jobs, 12 million more visitors every year. This government talks a good game on growth, it talks a good game on growing tourism, but the proof is in the pudding, and for this government, the pudding would have the words Universal Studios Bedfordshire written on it. I sincerely hope that they will get this over the line. But with or without Universal, it's become clear to me that the support available from government to promote our county is insufficient. Getting Bedfordshire an LVEP would help. Indeed, getting all counties lagging behind an LVEP would help enormously. But we must also ensure that tourism is a central consideration of English devolution. With proper prioritisation in the minds of new mayors and proper funding from local government to allow our regions to shout about all the fantastic reasons to come and stay a while. If the government wants to get tourism right, it must provide that funding centrally and resist the urge to consider local tourism taxes as a silver bullet. Local taxes have the allure for government of a problem handed down to devolution to handle, but they will make the UK even more uncompetitive, introducing additional costs and confusion for holidaymakers at home and abroad. I will gladly give way.
I thank the honourable member for giving way and welcome his efforts, his bold efforts to bring Bedfordshire's tourism economy to the fore. Moving over to Cornwall, somewhere where our tourism economy is already very much at the fore, does he agree that it is perhaps, for those places, part of the mistake of somewhere like Cornwall to see the industry as a sort of be-all and end-all, something which, given the seasonality of employment that it can entail, the lack of infrastructure and the many opportunities beyond that, that it really must be recognised that it can on occasion be a mistake to bed it so centrally into our growth plans?
I thank the Honourable Gentleman for that intervention. I think what's important for local economies is that they're balanced. And I recognise that in some parts of the country it feels like the economy is imbalanced and perhaps there are communities suffering from too many tourists, and I'm sure members, if they're going to speak, will talk about that in the context of Cornwall. So I thank the member for his intervention, and I would recognise that it's important that we have balanced economies throughout the United Kingdom. But certainly I think tourism has the potential to grow within the United Kingdom without the negative consequences I think the members opposite may wish to talk about. The cost of tourism is already far too high. Evidence from the World Economic Forum has put the UK 113th out of 119 countries on price competitiveness. Our visitor visas are uncompetitive internationally. A 10-year visitor visa costs £962. Comparably, the United States charges Chinese visitors just £135 for a visa of the same length. And repeat visa applications face a bureaucratic process requiring them to resubmit their biometrics, often a complex process for visitors from rural areas who may need to travel significant distances to provide their biometrics. Lower cost, longer lasting, simpler visas will help make the UK much more competitive as a tourism destination. Our international price competitiveness was already low before the government hiked the price of electronic travel authorisations by 60%, a policy that they admit will cost the UK just over 100,000 visitors every year. That's 100,000 fewer people staying in the accommodation sector. It's 100,000 fewer people eating and drinking in our pubs and restaurants. It's 100,000 fewer people enjoying everything great that Britain has to offer and recommending a visit to their friends when they get home. The Home Office estimates that means a cost to the UK economy of something in the region of up to £734 million over 5 years. Done in the same breath as talking about being a government for growth and growing the tourism economy to 50 million visitors per year. Mr Chairman, if we're to achieve the government's goal of 50 million visitors per year, we need to make the UK more attractive to visitors at home and abroad and less attractive as a source of revenue for the Treasury or local authorities. Because the evidence shows that for every 1% decrease in the cost of visiting the UK, the earnings of the UK's inbound tourism economy increased by 1.3%. And for every £74,300 increase in tourism revenue, a new full-time equivalent job is created in tourism. Tourism is a growth-generating machine that the government holds the keys to, but it is a machine that needs more careful maintenance than it's currently getting from this government. Since the general election, businesses in tourism and its supporting industries have faced significant government-imposed barriers to growth. Most notably, the government's decision to tax job creation and business expansion has left many tourism businesses putting their future plans on ice. Tourism businesses were already struggling, with 19% reporting that they're either in survival mode or performing quite badly. Profitability for tourism businesses is down. The decision to increase their employers' national insurance, taxing them for creating jobs and helping to grow the economy, all whilst reducing business rates relief, will have a devastating impact on the industry. If our tourism businesses fall, the attractiveness of visiting the UK falls with them. And tourism businesses are already falling. Just this month, we've seen a theme park in Wales close, citing national insurance as a contributing factor. As I mentioned earlier in my speech, Mr. Chairman, in Bedfordshire, we hope to be in the business of opening theme parks, not seeing them slip away. Because we know that where tourism thrives, it benefits the whole of the local economy, from accommodation providers to high street shops to pubs, cafes, museums and restaurants. When tourism succeeds and grows, it brings the whole of the local economy with it. When tourism fails, it puts at risk not just the future of UK tourism and the Minister's growth plan, but the whole ecosystem that it supports. The Great British Pub is a staple of British culture and a key attraction for visitors to the UK. Pubs like the Bell in Woburn, Oddfellows Arms in Toddington and the Star and Garter in Silsoe are a key part of what makes mid-Bedfordshire a great place to spend time. But 1 in 4 pubs believe their future may be untenable, and the government's £500 million hit to the cost of our pubs doing business will leave at least some of our destinations without the Great British Pub that is so attractive to visitors. I believe that the Minister is earnest in his desire to see 50 million visitors come to the UK each year, but I hope he will appreciate my concerns that we need to do more to ensure that there are thriving businesses here to provide things for those visitors to come here to see and do. I would like to see more focus from the government on supporting our best visitor attractions, including the Great British Pub and the British High Street. We must also ensure that the planning system protects and enhances our tourism offer. That means faster approvals for game changers like Universal, so that we can continue to be a fantastic place for projects and investment like that proposed in my constituency. It means better transport infrastructure across the whole country.
Would my honourable friend give way?
I would gladly give way.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way, and I congratulate him on bringing this really important debate in National Tourism Week. Tourism in the fantastic county of Kent is worth around £4 billion per annum. It supports 77,000 jobs, and there is still unmet need. But does my honourable friend agree with me that the reinstatement of Eurostar stopping at Ashford and Ebbsfleet would help the county further grow this vital sector?
I thank my honourable friend for that intervention. I think that's an absolutely fantastic idea. I was travelling just yesterday on the Eurostar, and I was thinking to myself, how great would it be if the train stopped at Ashford and Ebbsfleet, and passengers could get off, having come from the Netherlands, to savour the delights of Kent, a county that I know very well. So thank you very much for that intervention. I think it's a fantastic idea, and perhaps the Minister may have an update on what is happening with Eurostar. He might. He also might not. He also might. Let's see. But better transport infrastructure across the whole country would help our tourism industry, including delivering Luton Airport expansion in Bedfordshire. And perhaps the Minister has an update on that, or maybe he does not. And it means finding the right mixture of development in areas like mine to allow for some of the things we need to take advantage of the opportunities of tourism. In particular, in Bedfordshire, we need more accommodation to ensure that people stay a while in our communities rather than visiting for a day, going somewhere else for the bulk of their visit. It also needs to protect and enhance some of the beautiful countryside and landscapes that distinguish our country and our counties from our international competitors. The Green Sand Ridge National Character Area in my constituency of Mid-Bedfordshire is characterised by its ancient and modern woodlands, farms and parkland, and the historic look and feel of its small settlements, often former estate villages. Many of those settlements are distinctive Bedfordshire ends villages, hamlets or small villages built in a line along the road. But development within the National Character Area is threatening the character of many of these small settlements. We must make sure that delivering new development does not come at the expense of maintaining our communities as places where people from far and wide will be able to feel a sense of unique local character and pride. If our countryside and our towns become identikit places you could see anywhere, then people who want to experience them can go anywhere. We must embrace what makes Britain, and in my case certainly Bedfordshire, a great place to spend time. Mr Chairman, I hope that it has come across in this debate that I wish the government the very best in their ambitions to deliver their national visitor economy strategy later this year and to achieve 50 million visitors per year. In me, they will find a constructively critical friend willing to work across the House to deliver on the promise that the tourism industry can bring to my local economy in mid-Bedfordshire and the UK's economy as a whole. I hope that as the Minister continues to shape his thoughts on his strategy, he will consider my remarks today in that spirit. I hope that his strategy will set out how his government will protect and enhance the attractiveness of the UK offer to visitors from overseas and domestic holidaymakers. That means protecting the things that make Britain great, from the high street to the local pub to the beautiful countryside to the many set-piece tourism attractions that we are known the world over. I hope that his strategy will also set out a coherent plan to make the UK more price competitive with our major international competitors. Government cannot simply talk growth into being, it takes real decisions, tough decisions on competing priorities to make the UK more competitive and bring about growth. I've mentioned electronic travel authorisations, but the industry have also raised things like tax-free shopping, visa costs and air passenger duty with me in preparation for this debate. It is clear that more must be done to bring the cost of visiting the UK down to deliver growth in tourism. I hope that his strategy will set out, alongside the work his colleagues in MHCLG are doing, how the government's plans for English devolution will empower local communities like mine to drive our local tourism agendas. In particular, I'd like to see the completion of the rollout of local visitor economy partnerships so that counties like Bedfordshire can take our place at the tourism table and shout more easily about all the fantastic things to come and do in our county. I would also like to see the new mayors and local authorities backed with a framework and real funding from government to deliver local tourism strategies. I believe that it is desirable to tie all of these strands together for the government to commit to tourism as a priority, including tourism in the industrial strategy and having a dedicated tourism minister working cross-departmentally. Not as he currently is, a tourism minister stretched across multiple portfolios and departments would be a positive first step towards that. Finally, Mr Chairman, the Minister knows that I cannot possibly end this speech with a final expression of my hope that we will one day be able to cut the ribbon on a new Universal Studios theme park at Kempston Hardwick in mid-Bedfordshire. I know the government remains locked in negotiations with Universal, and both parties continue to have my full support to do whatever it takes to secure this fantastic investment in my community. Thank you, Mr Chairman, and I look forward to hearing ideas from colleagues about how we can best support our tourism industry across the United Kingdom.
The question is that this House has considered government support for the tourism industry. I remind members if they wish to speak, they need to bob. Sonia Goodman.